In the distant future, the colony ship Marathon drifts through space, carrying humanity's last hope. But when something goes wrong, the ship becomes a battleground, and an AI's rampancy threatens to unravel everything. This is the complete story of Marathon, a game that not only launched a legendary series, but also shaped the future of first-person shooters and storytelling in gaming. In 2194, a war broke out between the Icarus asteroid government and its neighbor, the Republic of Thermopylae, fought on the asteroid Onassis 492. This conflict led to the development and use of experimental weaponry, most notably the creation of the Battleroid. Soldiers who died in combat were recycled and enhanced with chips that improved their fragile brains, while genetically modified muscles and titanium bones replaced their human bodies. The war was short, with Battleroids taking over asteroids and killing almost everyone. This rampage of the Battleroids was brief but extremely devastating. By 2210, following the disastrous use of Battleroids, the United Interplanetary League, or UIL, established regulations for their use and storage. Battleroids were now kept in stasis chambers for emergencies, though it was well known that many nations secretly kept them on standby for use in future conflicts. By the early 2300s, after Mars had been colonized, a large ship designed to transport materials between Earth and Mars using powerful super sails called the CRIST, or Cargo and Resource In-System Transport, were developed. The system allowed these ships to change orbits and deliver resources to Mars or Earth through a tether and reel system for loading and an ion beam for unloading. However, while the CRISTs were
I was hoping you would react to Salt's recent Destiny tweet. Salt? Who? Oh, Salt Agreppo. Right, I know you're not much into the Twitter side of things regarding Destiny, but Salt Greppo made a tweet on the state of D2 Sandbox or balance. Was curious about your take, buddy. Since you're a new player, therefore I think your opinion is truly valuable. Can somebody give me a paragraph long TLDR, because it's like 10 paragraphs, and then I'll genuinely formulate an opinion. Okay, so TLDR, it's mostly about the state of the game and how strong Prismatic Titan is right now, and how there needs some balancing when it comes to the health on some ads. Most of it was providing examples and values, but most of it was just how they could change power creep and what changes they should do to keep in-game PvE hard, but also making it so new players aren't scared to load into raids. Going further on, really talked about how the barrier to entry on raids is really high right now, and there are so many things going on that it scares new players off. Me personally, what's scaring new players off is the lack of solo content and the importance of group content. And without Bungie delivering a good system to incorporate individuals into having a fun group experience, I don't think no matter what you do to guns and mobs or whatever, it's going to help. In my personal opinion, to really introduce people into group content and whatnot, I think it needs to be more group-friendly stuff, like you be able to have like player-owned instances in the game, like for clans and whatnot. More reason to get into a clan and whatnot, because there really isn't much of a reason to be in a clan right now, to be honest with you, other than some loot from the tower. That's what I've noticed from streaming the past almost 6 months from Destiny, that most people don't get into raids, not because they're difficult, not because they're easy, but because they don't have friends to play with. I think maybe just making that a little bit more user-friendly, because same thing with our Discord. We like to keep the UI very, we use the phrase of like dad friendly, like the 45-year-old dad that comes home from work can join the Discord, see how simplistic it is, and be able to get involved with some things. That's why we don't have 1,000 different channels, so many different emojis all over the channels where it looks like eye candy. So if you keep it simple and user-friendly, I think you'll have more of a positive response from it, in my opinion. Clan system needs a revamp too. More incentive to be in one. But yeah, make clans bigger. The 100-person cap for clans is ridiculous. Another thing that's also ridiculous is having to go to the Bungie website to be able to get into clans. That should all be done within game. Going outside of the game just to get into a clan and whatnot, that shouldn't be a thing. That sounds like something from the early 2000s, to be honest with you. That needs to be updated, in my opinion. Make it easier for people to get into clans, leave clans, because every step that you create is a step for another person to use it as an excuse to not execute it. So eliminating those steps would help invite people to get into these things. Does that make sense? A lot more people will turn down something with 4 steps rather than 3 steps. That's what I would do. I don't really want to have a conversation, in my personal opinion, about guns, metas, the power creep, I don't even want to have a conversation about inviting new players into the game. I want to start the conversation at how do we get players that are currently in the game to actually play the content that's in the game? Because most people aren't doing the content in the game that are playing every day. So I think we should start there. For an example, I think a lot of the high-end PvP players are talking about trials in-game and having like a 50, like 20, 25 win streak rewards. But we don't need rewards for those guys because they're already engaged in that content. How do we invite people that are playing the game now to be introduced into that content? I think we're talking about the wrong thing there for players being engaged in content. But that's what I think personally. That's just what I've gathered from you guys, talking to you guys on stream, in the Discord, in the chat and whatnot. That's what I've gathered. Could be wrong there, but that's just my opinion. I play Destiny on and off for years now, and I haven't had the chance to get in GMs, dungeons, or raids before I joined this community. It opened up a whole new way to play Destiny for me. Thanks for bringing... Doc Hamston. Doc Hamston, thank you so much for the kind words. I haven't zero friends who play Destiny, so I only do seasonal stuff, campaign, and Nightfall, GM with LFG. See, Totes My Goats is definitely one of those people I'm talking about. Stuff, campaign, and Nightfall, GM with LFG. See, Totes My Goats is definitely one of those people I'm talking about. This game is not solo friendly. You need friends to play with to be able to fully appreciate the value that Bungie's cooked up with this game. You need friends. You need them. You can't use LFG, man. We tried to use LFG and it was a fucking shit show. It's just not user friendly. It's not the answer. We need another answer. His point was the hardest content in the game, trials, comp for PvP, GM Nightfalls, raid, and dungeons in PvE is tuned for the same 5 most powerful builds. It makes it so the majority of exotic weaponry and armor is well as much of the subclass abilities that are available in game are not used in any content. He presents some different ideas to level the playing field across different game difficulty levels, but his overall hope is that in the future of Destiny, you could pick any exotic armor and build a useful class around it that could be impactful in in-game content. Well, when you word it like that, I don't see the, I don't see how that's wrong there. I do think in-game PvE players and Trials players deserve their rewards to set them apart. Otherwise, we would lose those players too. Night Out, kindly disagree. We're not losing those players. But I also say that I'm with you on giving them their rewards. However, I don't think that needs to be the main objective right now. It's inviting current players into those different activities. And I think that needs to be priority. Definitely put that on the back burner and absolutely give them their rewards. But maybe have more something that's more beneficial for the community as a priority, in my opinion, because it's tough. I played about 7 games of Trials on Friday. I matched with every streamer with more viewers than me that day, set in 7 games. And that's not just a coincidence. That's crazy. I can't express enough how great this community has been. It has been amazing playing with everyone. I'm not usually the type of person to just jump in and play with people. I don't know, but all the people here are so great. Thank you for your insight, Shannon. Seriously. That means a lot. Myself, my mods, and even you guys in this community have done a lot of work and put a lot of time in just making friends, being friendly, throwing around some banter, some shade, having a good time, and also vetting people and letting people know that they're not welcome with a specific mindset. So that credit goes to you guys, man. I'm just the captain of the ship. We're all hanging out on the ship, and you guys are the crew doing your own thing. And I appreciate what you guys have done for me and this community. To really get into making builds, so that pretty much has me coming back to the game and seasonal activities. Yeah, switching up the meta is great. I know a lot of people complain about the meta and stuff like that, but for a live service game, they're doing a really good job at like switching up what's good each season. I've only played 2 seasons, or a season and a half so far, but from what I've seen, they're doing a good job at doing that, even though sometimes something might be a little bit overpowered in a specific activity or whatnot, but that just comes with the nature of switching up the meta. It's going to happen. Also, another thing, sometimes OP builds can be fun, and I think we need to focus on what is fun in a video game rather than what is fair and balanced. I think the fun aspect is way more important than that. I remember the day I switched from a Warlock to a Titan. I did that specifically because of the Arc Titan. And now I just unlocked the Prismatic subclass. I'm having so much fun with the Titan build. Is it going to get nerfed and changed in some way in the future? Yeah, but I'm having fun with it right now while it's OP. And sometimes these things are okay to be a little bit past balanced because it takes a lot of time and effort to even acquire these things. You not only have to do the final campaign of the game, but you also have to do the side missions afterwards to even unlock these things. Hopefully you guys got some value out of that, or maybe have something that to talk about with your friends or whatnot with you know, that talking point. But it needs to happen because Destiny obviously isn't in the best spot right now, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird spot where people don't know the future, how the future is going to unfold, and the player numbers aren't as high. I saw the player numbers. I'm not going to say they're the best right now. But the positive side to that is there's a lot of room for improvement. There's a lot of improving that they could implement into the game to bring back and to bring forward players. So that should be a positive takeaway from this side of things, in my opinion.
YouTube, today we're watching the final Leviathan speedrun world record. So for those of you who are new here, there used to be a raid in Destiny 2 called the Leviathan. Guys, you can't type dicks, okay? We're gonna have to redo it. I'm taking chat off screen. You guys are stupid. You guys are stupid. Okay. So if you guys are new around these parts, there used to be a raid in Destiny 2 called the Leviathan. Bungie took it away because they don't like fun. But, before it went away, the final world record was 12 minutes and 23 seconds.
Today I'm going to show you how to beat the Sunless Cell Nightfall on Grandmaster difficulty to 1. Obtain this exclusive limited time emblem, which you can only obtain by beating the Sunless Cell Nightfall from now until April 29th at reset, and 2. So that you can farm some God Roll Adept palindromes this week while there is currently double Nightfall loot, meaning you get 2 drops per run, so that you can farm out the best rolls like Explosive Payload along with Magnificent Howl, or Rolling Storm, or Master of Arms. So step 1, I'm going to show you what builds you're going to want to take into this Grandmaster Nightfall, both for ease of use if you're just trying to run it once to get the emblem, and for speed if you're trying to farm this out multiple times to get a ton of Adept palindromes. And like I said, anyone can pull off these loadouts and strategies. I'm going to show you exactly how to do everything in this strike. So you're going to want to make sure that you want to have at least 1 Titan in your fire team on pure arc. We're going to go with Thunder Crash, Rally Barricade, whatever melee you want. I like Thunderclap, but you could go Seismic Strike if you would prefer. Pulse Grenade is the best arc grenade in my opinion. We're going Knockout, Storm's Keep most importantly, and then for fragments we're rock and rolling with the Spark of Resistance, Frequency, Shock, and Focus. Then, in terms of our exotic armor piece, we are going with the Strongholds. The main reason we're going with this is because the boss room can be particularly dangerous at 2 different phases of the fight. And it feels really bad to wipe in the boss room when you're 15 minutes deep into the run. It's a big waste of time. So with Strongholds and a legendary sword, I'm going to show you how you can guarantee that you will never wipe in the boss room no matter what, no matter how bad your teammates are, no matter how bad LFG is. I got you covered. You are literally invincible. I will show you exactly how to pull it off. As far as our other 2 weapons, we are going with a fusion rifle in the kinetic slot, in the top slot, whatever you want, both for its unstoppable champion stunning capabilities and the fact that it synergizes with particle reconstruction to do absolutely nutty damage. Down in the energy slot, all 3 players on the fire team are going to be running Lodestar. It feels particularly good for the strike this week due to the fact that it has Arc Surge, and you're going to notice I do not have the catalyst for it. You do not need to have the catalyst, so don't worry if you don't have it completed. All it does is give some negligible stat bonuses for PvE, so if you don't have it, you're all good. I don't have it either, and we've been absolutely burning through this strike extremely quickly. As far as mods go, you're going to go with a Harmonic Siphon, Harmonic Loader, and Arc Surges for your Lodestar. We're going Heavy Ammo Finder, Heavy Ammo Scout, and we're also going with the Bolstering Detonation, Impact Induction. As far as resistances, most important ones here are Concussive Dampener and a Solar Resistance. A lot of the damage in the strike is solar, the fire from the boss, husks, grims. I would also urge you towards a Void Resistance if you can fit it in here. I don't have the energy to, so I'm just going with Harmonic, which gives me an Arc Resistance. Also going Innervation on the legs, Reaper, Time Dilation, and Bomber down on the class item. What's extremely important, though, is your episodic artifact mods on Titan. Like we said, every single person on the fire team is going to want to be running Unstoppable Fusion with Particle Reconstruction, and since all 3 of us are running Lodestar, everyone on the team is also going to want to be running Beam Medic, so that you heal when you get Rapid Trace Rifle Final Blows, and Harsh Refraction, so that your Trace Rifles do more damage to targets that are afflicted by Elemental debuffs. Reminder that Lodestar can apply Elemental debuffs as well. I'll show you how to do that in a bit. If you're on the Titan specifically, you're going to want to make sure you're also running Photonic Flare, flashover and Defibrillating Blast. In fact, I honestly recommend everyone on the fire team run Defibrillating Blast, even if they're not on the Titans. Your other two players, they can be on... You can have two Titans if you'd like. If you had additional Titans, they would simply run the same. Typically goes, if you complete this strike on Grandmaster difficulty or any difficulty, and you do not see the emblem on your account, do not panic. You will not have the emblem on your account immediately after completing this Grandmaster Nightfall. If I come back over here into the TWAB, you'll notice right below, Bungie said granting this one will require a bit of time on our side as we need to collect the data of everyone that completes a Sunless Cell Nightfall from April 22nd to April 29th. But once we have it, it will be yours. So you will not get the emblem immediately after completing the strike, but don't panic. It will show up on your account eventually. Don't know exactly when yet, but it will be there. Also want to mention, if you're struggling with this strike or you're struggling to find teammates to do this with, Discord server linked in the description below. You can go in the LFG channel in there and find teammates who have seen this exact same guide video, know all the exact same loadouts, and know the exact strategies. Or you can come to our stream, twitch.tv/Mactix, where we are going to be doing carries of this Nightfall literally all week, probably with exception to Wednesday. I might be playing the Marathon Alpha a little bit right there. So for the start of the strike, we're going to pull up over here on the left side. All we really care about is this Unstoppable Ogre, and I highly recommend everyone on the team be like playing right next to each other the entire time, just so that everyone can take advantage of the bolt charge of the barricade. As you can see, it allows you to shred through enemies pretty quickly with just primary ammo. Also allows the Warlock to put down the Rift so that everyone can get Arc Souls, and just further allows you to shred down everything. Once that Ogre is dead, you can kind of skip past everything else and continue on towards the next pack of enemies where we're going to find another Ogre. And it is right here I want to show you a big thing with the Lodestar. When you have the arc alignment meter full, you can actually do this cool thing where when you do the special reload, it not only converts it into the more powerful beam, but it also reloads the magazine. So the gameplay loop for the Lodestar is effectively you mag dump to get precision hits on enemies so you can charge up the arc alignment beam, and then as your mag size is low, while you have the arc alignment beam ready to go, you hold R, that reloads you into the 75 bullets, puts your mag completely back, and you get the empowered beam. When it comes to playing with the empowered beam, the hip fire will jolt targets, which is really nice for not only applying jolt to them because it does more damage to them, but also to give them an arc debuff so that our harsh refraction artifact mod is going to allow our trace rifle to do even more damage. However, the ADS version, the pulse rifle, does more overall damage. So generally speaking, the way you're going to want to play with this weapon is you're going to want to get the meter full, get the magazine low, special reload to get the refill to the magazine and the empowered beam, and you'll tag enemies with the hipfire beam to apply jolt to them, and then you'll ADS to continuously DPS them. So in this room right here, I'll put down the barricade. First step is to kill this wizard and any acolytes that sneak up on us from the right side, any stragglers. And so we're just going to beam down this wizard, and then we're going to go to the left side. So I like kind of popping up here and playing this angle and trying to clear out some of these enemies. And if you're ever in a sticky position as the Titan player, you can pull out the sword. You're completely invincible, completely immune. So we'll put down the barricade. And I like just kind of beaming enemies down from behind the barricade. Our Defibrillating Blast is going to continue.
So Sunless Cell, the Grandmaster version, is officially available in-game for D2 this week. Well, technically it was already available because Bungie decided to release it early, and also the GM node, but now it's intentionally officially available in-game, and with the launch this week, we're also getting double loot farming active, with Palindrome being the weapon of the week. Additionally, you'll also be able to get a new emblem for just completing the Sunless Cell Strike, so that's a nice bonus too. So with that said, let's get into how you can make your life a whole lot easier and more efficient while you farm out some palindromes in this week's GM. For this guide, I am mainly going to be focusing on helping you with the awareness within the strike itself and how certain things work, and then what you can do to either circumvent these things or take advantage of them in order to save yourself a bunch of time and pain. As far as recommendations go, subclass-wise, there are many options you can opt in here in the strike and be efficient with them, but the top 5 I'd go with personally right now are the following in no particular order: Consecration Titan, Bolt Charge Arc Titan, Geomag Warlock, Prismatic Slide Warlock, and finally Void or Prismatic Hunter with Tether. The gameplay you'll be seeing is myself running my Geomag Warlock build, which in simplistic terms is a infinite Chaos Reach build with some crowd control elements like freezing and blinding built in. If you'd like to check out this full build, I'll tag that video at the end of this one, but for now, let's just talk about the GM itself. So, the first thing you should know is this is a Grandmaster that has Unstoppable and Overload champions, except that's a lie. There are 0 Overload champions in this Nightfall. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a typo or it's just a bug that there are none and there'll be more added later after a bug fix, but for the time of recording, the only champs you'll be seeing are Unstoppable champions. So that means you can focus your weapons around that entirely for the time being. The next thing you should know about this GM is there is a bug in it, and it's a crucial one that you should avoid if you want to guarantee yourself double loot at the end. Some of you may have already experienced this, but sometimes you can get gold instead of platinum at the end of this GM, and the reason for that is there's a hidden champion in the strike. The good news is it's at the beginning of the strike, so you can deal with it right away. As you enter the Founts section, you'll be greeted with your second Unstoppable champion, but there is seemingly supposed to be an additional third one here as well, except it isn't. So what do we have to do to fix this? And just to be clear, I'm not referring to the Unstoppable Phalanx champion that you meet in the middle of the area. This is an entirely different one. Anyway, how do you get him to spawn? We'll get to that in a second, but let's explain the layout of the room first. Once you dealt with the initial Unstop Ogre, continue to go through the Fount and nuke all the Thrall in front of you. You'll then be greeted with your first Wizard formation of the Nightfall. Here, the objective is simple. Eliminate all the wizards in the arena to progress into the next room of the strike. The key thing to note here is that you don't need to kill literally every single thing in the room, just the wizards and, of course, that Unstoppable Phalanx that I mentioned earlier. To make things simple and efficient, you can do one of two things. You can either do a 2-1 formation split with your fire team and send 2 players to the left and then your strongest player to the right, or just do a 3-man rotation where you go in each direction and just kill each wizard one by one. In the footage you'll be watching, I opt to go to the right-hand side by myself and let my teammates deal with the rest on their side. While I go through each wizard one by one, you'll notice here that I'm using a mix of my super as well as some CC to plow through the crowds in quick fashion, which is what your goal should be as well. Now, once you've done a full sweep of the room and all 4 wizards are dealt with, this is where the hidden unstop comes into play. Normally, you would just exit the arena after the 4th wizard and move on. Instead, what you have to do is double back towards where you came from, in fact the exact same spot where you killed that second unstop of the strike. There, you'll find that there is a brand new unstoppable jabroni waiting for you. Defeat this last champion, and you can then safely proceed forward and avoid the bug. Next up is the double blight room. For this particular area, it's pretty straightforward. Kill the enemies, take down the blights, then kill some more enemies, and you can go forward. But there is a proper way to not only speed up the process, but also ensure that your teammates that are doing the blight killing don't get screwed over afterwards. First off, clear out the entire room of enemies with whatever weapons you prefer. Personally, I opted to bring a machine gun for this part, specifically an arc machine gun to feed into my ionic traces for that part of my build, but any machine gun will do. Now, once you have dealt with all the Taken and the Grim, all that's left is going to be 2 blights, one on the left and one on the right. Have one teammate go to the left and the other go to the right, and have them destroy the blights simultaneously. Now, you might be wondering, what's the purpose of this? You see, when you destroy these blights, you will get a new wave of enemies to spawn in on each side in the middle section, i.e. the left blight makes enemies spawn on the mid-left, and then the right one does the same thing. So the normal issue here would be, you destroy some of the blights, maybe one at a time, both at the same time, and then a bunch of enemies spawn in, including some wizards, whose entire life existence is to fly away and shoot your teammates down, not to mention the Nova Bomb blights that spawn in as well. To circumvent this from happening, have your third player stand in the middle as the blights are being destroyed. That way, you're able to just spawn kill the waves of enemies immediately. In my example, I ended up throwing an arc turret on one end to blind them, and then on the other end, I used my Chaos Reach to just blow them away, and then I focused on the blinded ones after that. This allowed both of my teammates to safely and quickly get back to the center without worrying about a bunch of enemies running them over. From here, you just proceed as a unit and head into the next room, which contains a yellow bar subjugator, but luckily for you, it's not a boss kind, so it is vulnerable to all forms of crowd control. So freezing, blinding, suppressing, etc. are all a great asset. My personal suggestion here is CC the Gator with anything that you can, and then focus on the trash. Once that is under control, utilize your supers on the subjugator with things like Thunder Crash, Chaos Reach, and Tether. Shortly after that, you'll be invaded by your next set of wizards and Taken. Nothing major here happens, so just split off and deal with them accordingly. Afterwards, you'll have the door open in front of you, and a very beefy ogre spawns inside. Here is where I think a lot of people make a mistake. They think they can just go ahead and nuke the ogre and be done with it instantly, but in most cases this doesn't happen, and even when it does, the real danger is the enemies that just spawned behind you while you were focused on the ogre. Instead, I recommend backing up to either the left or the right staircase, and instead of dealing
Yeah, I mean, it's annoying a little bit. Anyway, chat, what else we got today? Yeah, I mean, it's annoying a little bit. Anyway, chat, what else we got today?
I just said if without juice and top and this that my lifestyle. I just said if it's true that I don't even know if you go without the beginning.
If you would just get up and teach them instead of handing them a freaking packet, yo. There's kids in here who don't learn like that. They need to learn face to face. You're just getting mad because I'm pointing out the obvious and you're choosing.
You're wasting my time.
No, I'm not wasting your time. I'm telling you what you need to do.
Get out.
You want kids to come into your class, you want them to get excited for this, you gotta come in here, you gotta make them excited. You want a kid to change and start doing better, you gotta touch his freaking heart. Can't expect a kid to change if all you do is just tell him. You gotta take this job serious. This is the future of this nation. And when you come in here, like you did last time, and make a statement about, oh, this is my paycheck, indeed it is. But this is my country's future and my
I
education.
respect that. Can you go outside, please?
But there's a limit.
Chat.
When I'm not bitching, but simply making an observation.
Okay.
Chat.
And now I will leave.
All I heard is facts.
Welcome. And if you would like, I'll teach you a little more so you can actually learn how to teach a freaking class.
XQCLXQC, much love.
If you would just get up and teach them instead of handing them a freaking packet, yo.
Chat, a freaking packet, yo. You feel me? Chat, a freaking packet, yo. Oh, wow.
Four years a freaking packet
Fuck
too.
everybody. Fuck everybody. You don't want to hang out with me. You don't want to be friends with me. I don't give a fuck about everybody. Fuck everybody.
Facts. Me.
I wasn't scared at all, y'all. I was chilling. That shit weak.
Chat, this is the first GGG clip I've seen on TikTok.
Tuesday, a video is going viral on social media of a homeowner lassoing a man who jumped an iron fence to break into his home. Security footage shows the suspect entering the backyard. The homeowner briefly disappears into a side door, then returns with a lasso. The suspect runs. The homeowner
that's gotta be fake.
and throws the rope, catching him clean around the upper body and pulling him down.
Oh, that's AI.
The wealth disparity is getting bad.
The wage gap, I hate that shit.
No, wealth disparity.
Wealth disparity.
Wage gap is like between men and women. Men and women, we love each other.
Facts.
And we hate the rich. Anyway.
That's what I said.
Aren't you the rich?
That's gotta be rage bait, surely.
Like the ultra rich, the ultra giga rich, the
You have to
unnecessarily
clarify.
rich.
They're gonna clip that and it's gonna make you look bad.
Oh.
You
the
gotta
ultra
say
giga
you
rich.
gotta say the billion.
The 1% starts at network. Wait, what? Huh? Chat. The 1% starts at 6 mil. Boy, that's insane. Chat. I thought the 1% would start at like fucking, like 1 mil. The fly swatter? Yeah, but the fly, I don't say I haven't seen the fly in forever.
No way.
I thought I heard it earlier, but at this point, I'm trying not to think about it, because if I think about it and it's not there, I think the fly is there when you don't think about the fly.
Oh,
So I'm trying not to think about the fly.
Of course, that makes
If I
sense.
stop thinking, I'm spawning it in, and then I'll get it.
Okay, you spawn it in. Do you know how this thing works? We need batteries.
Okay, well, just leave it here. It's fine, no problem. I'll take care of it.
It says mata el insecto al contacto.
No habla.
There you go. If you start squeaking, let me know.
No habla.
It says mata el insecto al contacto.
No habla.
There you go. If you start squeaking, let me know.
Anyway, I gotta get back to work.
I'm gonna show my chat the smelly shirt.
Yo?
Why are you doing that? Oh, the sign says go in and out. Okay, I don't know if I should laugh at that or just be totally weirded out. I'm just messing around. Okay, that's pretty funny. They serve what here? I know I've done the joke where I removed the letters before, but I just thought it would be funny to add to it by saying, they serve what here? Or just like making a funny face, like, they serve what here? Man cream. What, they serve man cream at that boba shop? What? That sounds like a donation clinic. What is this, a boba shop or a donation clinic? Man cream? Man cream, are people really ordering that? What is that? What is that? Bitter taste, discouraged swallowing. Oh, what is that? Sometimes I feel like ugly, so leave a comment. You comment you if you think I'm ugly, or A if you think I'm attractive.
I just burned my PP so bad and my processor is so hot. Chat, am I cooked?
That's dumb. That's dumb.
S.
Hello, Dexter Morgan.
That grab that trophy. It's heavy. Pick that trophy up.
It's a bit heavy. Yeah,
It's a bit heavy, but grab that trophy.
You got it, nice.
So we won the major tournament in Spain last year.
Wow.
And so that is the Masters
Bigger than the
Madrid
Oscar.
tournament. Bigger than the Oscar, much heavier than the Oscar. That trophy we won. And so G2 is yet to win a trophy.
It's the guy smoking a cigarette outside guy.
There may be a tweet going out soon that says Ben Affleck trophy before G2.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. You guys just tricked me into antagonizing these guys. Yeah.
This is our chat, by the way. Chat,
say hi to
Ben.
Ben. Wave hi to Ben.
So we have a live stream going on, and we've got like
last year.
Wow.
Yeah. You looking for weed?
Depends. You got good shit?
Put it this way. I sell him his shit.
You do an ounce?
3 bills.
300. I like it.
You get a better price when you come direct to the distributor.
I guess so.
You got another nigga in the crib, you know? What's
up?
What?
Did I get the shit?
What shit?
Just gave you $300 for some weed.
You niggas ever seen this motherfucker before?
I ain't seen shit.
Get the fuck out of here.
All right. All right, okay. Come on! Where's everybody going? I thought we were gonna hang out.
34 months. Can I get a welcome to the jungle, please?
Chat,
and
what movie
thank
is
you.
this? Hey, yo! You know the music theory. He's a music theory himself. Yo, real.
Hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
Chat, what did he mean by that? Chat, what did he mean by that, you think?
When I voiced Prime for the very first time, I was living with my brother Larry, who was a Marine, and I said, I'm going to an audition. I'm going to be a truck. And he started laughing. He said, a truck? And I said, this is a leader. This is a hero. And his demeanor
No, he said, this is Optimus Prime.
just changed. He just went, well, Peter, if you're going to be a leader, be strong enough to be gentle. And I got to the audition and I said, my name is Optimus Prime from the planet Cybertron. Did you forget who I am? I am Optimus Prime. We are here. We are waiting. Audition and I said, my name is Optimus Prime from the planet Cybertron. Did you forget who I am? I am Optimus Prime. We are here. We are waiting.
Chat, that was Aura, no? 55.3 thousand? Who would the fuck would buy this? Ah! I just bought it!
Real quick, just before you ask a question, XQ, this is my friend, Nerman.
I do not care. Let me go wash my hands while I'm back.
The fuck, bitch? Yo, fuck you think yo, this fucking geek. Who's he think he is, bro?
10 months later.
Man, Jesus Christ! Holy shit, these toddlers up on my dick, man. I mean,
iPhone 14. Let's take a look.
Biggest.
This is the biggest bonus of the summer.
I think there's one in Z. Care. I'm sitting in the smoke.
I'm gonna molly him then.
Okay. I just got mollied. I think they mollied me. Where did your molly hit?
Try out this
I didn't throw it yet. Want me to throw it?
Yeah. Okay, I'm blind. They just fucking threw a fucking perfect flash at me. These guys like know right where I'm at. Alright.
Classico.
GGS, thanks for everything. XPCL, wish me luck with my driving exam.
This is mercury metal.
Oh, don't touch
it's
that.
It's one of the only elements that's liquid at room temperature, and it's also very dense.
Don't touch it!
It's even denser than lead, and it can float this bag of lead on top of it. Mercury's known for being very toxic, but in its metallic form, it's kind of okay to touch. This is because, as long as you don't have any cuts or anything, it's not able to go through skin.
Yeah, but... Chat, even this guy should know. Chat, saying something like this is bad. Yes, hear me out. Saying something like this is bad, in my opinion, even on the internet, because people don't know about micro cuts and micro lesions. Especially in your mouth, in your whatever. You have a lot of cuts and you have a lot of wounds you don't even know about.
But it does let off invisible vapor that you can breathe in, which can lead to mercury poisoning. So, even though it is kind of fun to play with mercury and to touch it, I really don't recommend it. This
engineering experiment shows.
So, I guess they can decide how tall they want to be.
We're gonna try on each other's legs. See how it feels.
So just to show the difference.
So,
there's a lot of different ways you can filter muddy water. This here's the
Do etchas haha godem for heat.
Oh, it's a border collie because it's a herder dog.
Welcome to the jungle.
Come by. Come by.
That's cool, chat.
Walk on. Walk on. Good gal. Here, walk on.
Read the caption. Oh, I hadn't read it. It's because I know because I have a border collie at home.
Walk on, walk on. Walk on. I'll do.
I have one at home, I have one at home.
If you drilled a hole all the way through the Earth and then accidentally fell in it, you would fall towards the Earth's core. As you passed the core, gravity would...
Yeah.
If you drilled a hole all the way through the Earth and then accidentally fell in it, you would fall towards the Earth's core. As you passed the core, gravity would...
How's that? Explain how that's me. Okay, you guys always say you. I'll explain it then.
Bruno!
Not this one. Not this is the wrong clip. But it's still a clip though. Look.
Oh! Oh! Bruno!
See, look, I have a border collie at home.
Oh!
A cute dog, no? It's still alive still. Just getting old a little bit. I think he's gonna... Okay, but chat, explain how this is not the drip. Chat, explain how this is not the drip. No, explain it now. Now explain it.
Let him cook.
No! Cook! Chat, he's got butt acid.
Let him come.
Chat.
Among their number.
She will not soon be able to try again. I see Xivu Arath's ritual proceeds apace. If you reach beyond your own prison.
So it does. And I see you are familiar with the art of fighting our god of war. You cut her battle short. Blunt, but respectable. I have in my time done the same. Killing floor this would be. do see why she likes you. Xivu Arath has something of mine. I can taste it from here. Sword edges and screaming.
Not until we claim that artifact. Nothing more than pockets of battle here. You must keep going deeper still.
The deepest part of this prison has seen the most death. The most suffering.
If you cannot bring yourself to provide something useful, be quiet.
Useful. The Dreadnought was made after my memory. But I understand the flow of energy here. You're running out of time.
Taken, and the ritual between them. The hilt of the Willbreaker. By the relic of a brother's sword, Xivu Arath would cleave the Dreadnought from thy throne.
You treat the Taken as something apart from the Hive. They do have other species among their number, but it was I who made them. They are Hive, and their newfound curiosities serve me well.
But something else has stepped into the gap.
This is not my taking. Knife of my slaying. To arms.
You have no authority here.